All right, here we go. Good evening, everybody. This is typically it's a good morning or maybe a good afternoon. Abby and I are not used to. I mean, I don't think ever in our history in 2 years we've done a nighttime one,
Mm-mm.
a nighttime podcast. And Abby said a few days ago, she's like, Greg, let's try out doing this at nighttime and see because we get such great people in the morning and in the afternoon, even during the workday, that we're like, let's see how this is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Different people.
Different people. And Joshua, it's his birthday in 12 days.
Happy birthday.
Happy early birthday, Josh. I love
Hi,
it.
Arnold.
We have two guys.
You guys, that's who gets on at night. Guys.
Where's our Brittany Becker?
Where's Brittany Becker? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I just
Putting kids to sleep. They're putting kids to sleep. So they're, yeah.
I know. So funny. So men are on, the women. Oh, we have an Audrey, a Denise, a Levi. Oh,
Hi. Hello. Yeah, we're really live, Wanda. We're here. Oh, look, here are my kids coming in. See? Usually, no, you have no clothes on.
Your imagination.
So yeah, my other twin has no clothes on, so I told her she's not allowed to come into the video. So,
oh my gosh, I love it. I'm going to show you. This is what. So you have kiddos popping in. This is what sums up my life right now. So I told you before we went live, I was going to grab a tea, and I still have my Santa, my elf mug. It's almost February, but who doesn't love an elf mug?
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Oh, Wanda.
Oh, Wendy is in. She's in with a client who's delivering a baby. That's amazing. Oh
my gosh,
Wendy, that's so exciting. I wish I was in with a client having a baby.
That would be
so fun.
Don't give Abby any ideas because Abby, who's already does 36 things in her life, also talks about wanting, which is funny because I wanted it too. After Abby got her doctorate, she's like, maybe I should like become a midwife too.
I want to be a midwife so bad. Like that's the next thing I want to do. So I got my doctorate and then I was like, okay, like what do I do next? Because I always want to be in school. Like I love being in school. So I was like, okay, what do I want to do next? So I want to be, I know Grace just popped her head in to say I'm a weirdo because she's like, get me out of school. And I love being in school. So I was like,
I'm with Grace. No, I cannot. School makes me, in college was great, but I still have like nightmares where I'm like back on my campus. I don't have my schedule. It's the first day of school. I don't have my schedule. I don't know where anything is.
I just love school. So I was like, I think I'll do midwifery school next. Like I want to be it's where you go to be a midwife. Plus, like the word midwifery is so fun. So anyway, I was like, I think that's what I'll do. Regan was like, you're crazy. Like you just got your doctorate. Like stop.
Abby, myself, is I'm protective over her, and her husband, Doug, was like, no, we just give it a few weeks.
I was like, please, like, can you not be in school for a year? But I'm actually back, like, kind of in school because I'm not like school, but like not like really school, but like I'm learning to do this specific type of therapy that I'm really excited about. So I'm becoming like a specialist in this type of therapy. So,
and who's going to be your first trial run?
Maybe you.
We're going to see if Abby can work through me with some of my like trauma and anxiety with flying. And I'm like, if Abby can get through to me, like she's going to be.
We're going to clear it. We're going to clear it out. And you're going to be like, get me on a plane.
Oh, Lord. I don't even know.
Yeah, Michelle, it's called rapid resolution therapy. So you may have heard of like EMDR. and it's kind of like EMDR, but it's different and I think better because with EMDR, you have to basically you have to walk through all of your past trauma in order to move through it. And with RRT, you don't. So, which I think is amazing because I I don't want people to have to go through all of their yucky trauma in order to, heal from it. And so it's it's a lot of biofeedback and things like that. But yeah, so I'm being trained in that specialty therapy. So I'm really excited, and it's all trauma based, which is pretty much all that we work with. So all that I deal with. So I'm really excited. I mean, we watched a video of a guy who was I mean, it's almost like miraculous. Like I watch people do it and I'm like, did that really just happen? Like
Right.
I'm so excited to become a specialist in it. So we watched a guy who was a first responder for 9/11, and he just had such acute PTSD and just was so I mean you can imagine the trauma. Just nightmares every night, severe nightmares. Um and just I mean so much. And he couldn't eat, he wasn't sleeping. He was having really severe panic attacks. He was having to use an inhaler, couldn't breathe. He had almost situational asthma because it would get him to the point where his lungs would seize up and all this kind of stuff. He had one session of RRT and it was cleared.
That's just think of the healing, the life changing. That's just wild to me.
It was crazy. And they did a follow-up with him and he was like, yeah, my life is totally different. A long time later, they did a follow-up with him and he's like, I had one session. My life is completely changed, completely different. I haven't had a nightmare since. I don't have to use my inhaler. I don't have panic attacks anymore. One session, 1 hour and a half session. And I was tearing up while I was watching the video of this guy just releasing all of this. It was amazing. So anyway, I'm so excited. I'm so excited that I'm learning to do this. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm selfishly excited.
So anyway, doesn't she look like me? She does look like me.
She does. She does. All your kids are just such a perfect mix. Speaking of babies, you and I haven't actually, just even as friends, we haven't talked about what we were watching recently on Netflix. And I just started, and I feel like you and I maybe would be, we're always similar in most things. But so I just started watching Virgin River. Have you watched it yet?
I haven't watched it. I've heard all these things about it. I haven't watched it.
Yes. So I think I'm 3 or 4 episodes in, and there was a baby left on the door, a doorstep of the doctor's office. And so, protocol is that you need to call social services, but it's this really small town and everybody's don't call social services because we'll take care of the baby. And, I was talking with someone about it. I'm I would not call social services. The mama in me, I'd be I would just make sure that baby was
my baby now.
My baby.
It's my baby now.
My doorstep. I found the baby. This baby's fine. I will take it.
Totally. Yeah.
You
need social services. It has me.
I know. We're not going through any other weird process. I'm taking care of the baby. And it's just oh my gosh.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. Everybody says it's really good. Oh, wait. Did I tell you that I watched Firefly Lane?
You did finally. Did you finish it?
Yes.
The 2 seasons. It's so good.
I cannot wait for the next season to come out. Like they totally left us hanging. Like what the
Oh
heck?
my gosh. Tully and Kate's, it's so good. It's so good. And when they can do the shows with like the flashbacks, like present day and then flashing back, it's so well written. I love it. I love it. So, and then I did Ginny and Georgia, which is a little more, I don't know if you've heard of that one.
Oh, yeah. I've heard of it. Oh, Melissa, you know what? I almost did that. And that's my sister-in-law. I'm commenting. Okay. I almost did that. Like, I almost read the book just so I could know the end. But I was like, don't do it. Don't do it. I almost did, though. I almost cheated because I was just like, I want to know so bad.
Right. Right.
Okay. I am eating a concha. Have you ever had one of these?
A what?
Concha. It's one of these like
concha?
Mexican pastries. It's so good.
It looks like, is it like a donut?
No, it's like a round like pastry. It's like a sweet bread.
Oh, okay.
But it has like some kind of icing on it. I don't know what the icing is, but it's so good. It's probably just like straight sugar.
I would just eat the top of it, like my donuts. I only eat the tops. Muffins, donuts, the sweet bread. I would just eat the top.
Oh, really? I'll eat the bottom. See, that's like a perfect yin and yang. So I'd eat the bottom. You could eat the top.
When we're together for Chicago,
because I like the bread part. I don't really like the icing
like
part. But the icing on this is good because it's not super thick. It is so good. You want another bite? It's so good. It's so thin. I want to look it up though. Like what is it? But
you probably don't want to know. I mean, it's probably best.
Alex's Spanish teacher gave it to him today, and I've successfully eaten like the whole thing. Almost.
I posted the other night because I talked about like my autoimmune, and I'm always trying to eat healthier, which like it never happens.
I'm like, eat a concha.
Eat whatever that is. And I'm like, here I'm trying to eat healthy, and then it's like 8:53 p.m. and I'm having a bowl of cinnamon toast crunch. It's like probably the worst cereal out there, but it's so good.
It's so good though.
It's so good. The sugar. I hate how good sugar is. But
Michelle is opening a cupcake shop soon.
Oh, Michelle, where are you from?
Michelle, where do you live? We want to know. So I can stop by. Regan will never stop by. Because wherever you live, she'll never fly there and see you. But I will when I'm in town.
If you're between me and Chicago, North Carolina and Chicago, maybe I'll stop in.
Yeah. Salem, Oregon, Regan will never see you.
Oregon's like a forgotten state.
Oregon is beautiful.
You never hear of like bad stuff happening in Oregon. You know, like it's like a wholesome state, right? Or
Are you kidding me?
No, it's not.
That's where Portland is.
Oh, never mind.
But it is outside of Portland, though. It is beautiful. And you know, Bend, Oregon is where the last Blockbuster is. And I've been there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Bend is beautiful.
Yeah, I probably won't make it there.
You probably won't because you are not going to. You will after I do some rapid resolution therapy on you and we clear out this ridiculous.
We're going to record it. And if
this ridiculous flying thing you have, we're going to be done with this.
I hope.
We're going to be done.
I'm not hopeful. So the two things that I wanted to talk about that, and it was ironic that you and it wasn't planned whatsoever. You and I back to back had caused a little ruckus. We ruffled some feathers with our shirts the past couple days, which I also want to tie into the whole Madonna thing.
Oh my gosh.
It's wild. It's like if you want to upset people, talk about saving babies and talk about the Blessed Mother. I mean, you will get people fired up.
You know, even my Baptist parents like brought it up tonight at my son's basketball game. My mom was like, my parents were like, "What in the world?" Like they were just like, "Oh my gosh, like people just seething over like a flipping t-shirt like you were wearing. Like it's so crazy." Like
Right.
and you know, my parents have been Southern Baptist like their whole life. Like I was raised Southern Baptist. So,
Yeah.
but like even my parents are just like people who act like people who act like, you know, oh, Mary was just another woman. Like me, like my mom and I were talking about it. Like she's like women who are just like, oh yeah, oh, Mary was just like another woman, like me and you. She's like, no. She's like, she was not. She was not just another woman. Like, she's like, anybody should be able to see that. She was chosen by God to
Right.
carry and birth our Messiah. That makes her set apart. That makes her different. Like she was chosen for something so incredibly divine and special that none of us will ever do. It was predestined for her. She was the Ark of the New Covenant. Like this is different. This was
Right.
so different. Like this was spoken about before she even existed. This was talked about in the Old Testament that she was going to come to be, right? Like, how can anybody say she's just another woman? She's another woman like me and you. No, she is not. Like, even if you're not Catholic, how can you even believe that? How can you denigrate her position of worth to our Lord? Like,
Right.
he loved her so much. You should never fear loving his mother too much. We can never love her more than he loved her. So why do we worry about it? Why do we worry about loving her too much? And there's so much misunderstanding about Mary. There's so much misunderstanding about Catholics and Mary. We're not worshiping her, we're loving her. We're loving her as Jesus loved her. We're not idolizing her.
Right. Just gonna
Not
use right.
not any more than you idolize your family when you put pictures up of your family. You put pictures up, you put items up in your home of people that you love. Well, we love Mary. We think that she's worthy of respect and honor. And because of that, we love her and we want to remember her. We want to remember her strength and her fiat. Like, why wouldn't we want that up in our home? Why wouldn't we want to honor that by wearing that proudly, right? Like, so this crazy, like, it just shows the division. It shows the like anti-Catholicism that is so incredibly rooted in so many Protestant circles. You don't have to hate Mary. You don't. And Jesus doesn't want you to hate his mother. Like he doesn't want you to be offended by just an image of his mother.
Right.
And that is so it's hurtful and it's just bizarre. The misunderstanding around what Catholics believe is truly bizarre to me.
It is. And the fact that, the word that comes to my mind is how dismissive other Christians are of her. And again, like you just explained, and you almost hit every point that I was thinking, is it just makes no sense. And anytime you know, going back to Mary, she was just filled with such humility. She was just the most humble person. And she always says her whole mission is to bring people closer to her son. And I just want to share this again for any, not just the Catholics watching, but because it's so crazy and it was so unexpected. But I had done a consecration to Mary, and I've always felt close to Mary since I was a little girl. And on my last day, as I finished the consecration, I got chills all over my body, and I immediately stopped thinking of Mary, and Jesus was the forefront. And I immediately felt closer to Jesus than I ever have. And it was almost like, I didn't hear a voice, it wasn't a locution, it wasn't anything like that. But inside of me, it was as if Mary was saying, this was my goal, this is my job, not to bring you closer to me, but through me to bring you closer to my son. And it was the craziest thing. When I consecrated myself to her, I immediately felt closer to Jesus. And I just, it was just wild. And so, yeah, I just.
Well, but that makes sense. That tracks, because even throughout scripture, she was always trying to divert people back to her son. Right?
Right.
So, but I think even the idea that, like, oh, well, people, and, it's just ridiculous to even ask people in heaven to intercede for us. They're dead. And I'm like, are they though? Because people in heaven are more alive than we are. They're next to our Lord. They're not dead.
Right.
Like, they are full of life. They're with God. Like, they're completely alive. And so why would we believe that? Why would we believe that people in heaven who love us and care for us don't have a desire to intercede for us?
Right.
Just like the people I love and care about here, I intercede for them.
Right.
Why wouldn't people? Aren't we all brothers and sisters in the Lord? Aren't we all part of the kingdom of God? Does that suddenly stop? Like, do we suddenly stop being a part of the same kingdom once we cross into the heavenly kingdom? Like, no, I think we're all part of the same. I think we're all part of the same kingdom. So it's strange to me. And it's strange to me how, like, people would be so certain. Like, no, I'm so certain that people in heaven can't intercede for us. Like, are you sure?
Right.
Because I'm not sure about that. So I'm going to go ahead and ask the saints in heaven to intercede for me.
Right.
And I feel great comfort from that, and I feel like prayers have been answered through their intercession. So it doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt my salvation. It doesn't hurt my relationship with Christ. So why does that inflame people so much? It's just a real strange thing for me that people just get themselves so bent out of shape.
Well, and when you look at it, like especially all of our, like, from a motherly standpoint, we've even seen in the Bible, Jesus never said no to his mother. Even when he was not ready to perform that first miracle at the wedding, he was not going to let his mother down.
Right.
And so he never says no to Mary. And there's been so many instances that just my little self has heard of people, um, of stories where there's been near death experiences, whether it's been priests talking, just normal people like you and I, who were supposed to go to hell. Um, you know, that's where they should have been. And they said that they had, they had seen the Blessed Mother, they had seen Jesus. Stories were different but similar in saying that Mary, stood up on their behalf saying she wanted to give them another chance, you know, and um, and so sometimes, I look at it from that perspective, like, gosh, I'm not worthy, even to kneel before Christ. I'm such a sinner. But when you think, like, I think of that motherly love and just Mary covering us and protecting us and trying to just give us that humility and holiness to be able to approach her son, Um, so yeah, but it was funny to go through. There's Doug. There's my buddy. It was funny to go through those comments because.
Well, it is. It's funny. It's always funny when people are like, you need to leave the Catholic Church and you need to see the blah blah blah. And I'm like,
Mary
well,
is our Jesus. I agree with you.
we agree.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's interesting because I came into the Catholic Church as an adult. So I didn't come in, I'm not a cradle Catholic. Like, I made a choice to join the Catholic Church as an adult, because I felt a calling from the Lord. Um, I did a lot of reading. I read the entire Bible. I mean, I did. I mean, I felt a genuine calling from the Holy Spirit, from God, to be a part of the Holy Catholic Church. And so we followed that calling. And so when people are like, oh, I felt called away from the Catholic Church, that's something that I don't understand, because we felt a calling into the Catholic Church, because that was where we found truth. That was where we found the fullness
Right.
of truth, and all of the questions that I had grown up with my entire life were answered in that fullness of truth. And so, I respect everybody's beliefs and where they are, on their journey into their faith. But I think that people that leave the Catholic Church do so because they never really fully had a good understanding of Catholic theology. And I think, unfortunately, there has been a lot of years of bad theology in the church.
Yeah.
And I think there's been a lot of really bad formation in the church. I was very blessed to have really great people surrounding me on my journey into the church. But I think people who leave do so because they just don't understand the church. They don't understand theology. They don't understand how the things that Catholics believe do line up with scripture. And they've been led astray by anti-Catholic rhetoric that isn't true. So, I mean, I think that it's interesting when people are like, you need to know the gospel. I'm like, honey,
Been there, done
I
that.
know the gospel. I know the gospel. I live out the gospel, and I receive the gospel, full body, blood, divinity, and soul of Jesus Christ every time I receive the Eucharist on my tongue. So I know the gospel.
And that's just it. Like we talked about, like our sacraments, like the sacraments the Catholic Church, like how, I just could never imagine not having them. I just couldn't.
But I love people of all faith traditions. I grew up Protestant. You know, I I I understand it. I get it.
Right.
Um, and but I just think there's just so much that people don't understand. Like when people are like, Jesus is the only way to be saved. Right. We get that.
Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Catholics believe that too. We get that.
Right.
That's like a stupid thing that Protestants say because they literally don't understand what Catholics believe. They don't. And the best way to understand what Catholics believe is to actually talk to a Catholic.
Right.
Not to read an anti-Catholic book, but talk to a Catholic. In fact, the best book I think on like what Catholics actually believe is a book. Doug doesn't like it. He says it's too like heady and academic, but it's my favorite book. It's by Carl Keating. It's called Fundamentalism versus Catholicism, or
Huh.
the other way around, Catholicism versus fundamentalism, one of the two. And it's the best book, I think, on what Catholics actually believe and how it falls in line with Scripture. And I tell people, even if you don't, even if you're not Catholic, even if you don't, but if you want a better understanding of why we believe what we believe, and you want it from someone who is Catholic and very learned in the faith, you should read that book because it helps you understand the differences between Catholicism and non-Catholics, and Protestants, and where the deviations are, and where the deviations are like in Scripture. It's such a good book. It's so well done.
I was thinking too, when you were talking about why some people choose to leave and so forth, and of course, I can't speak for everybody. But I think people also, even people that are still in their Catholic, still claim to be a Catholic, like Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, just the two off the top of my head. Like we just begin to tell ourselves, we make our own rules. We feed ourselves our own narrative of what we want to believe and what we think is right. We validate our sin. And then, it's a very slippery slope when you do that. And then the next thing you know is you're so far gone from the church, you're Madonna, who is, and I don't know the full history if Madonna was ever like a true practicing Catholic. But what she has done, it hurts my heart so much when people stoop to a level to be so blasphemous that it's dangerous. It's not like when I say it's satanic, I just don't feel like that's all encompassing enough. You know what I mean? It's like it's something else that just boggles my mind of how people can just go to that level to make such a mockery of our Blessed Mother, of Jesus, and again, I got a lot of when I had made a short post about Madonna. I later edited that post because I did agree with some people. I had just said how vulgar and disgusting Madonna was, which I don't take back.
No.
And a lot of people had yet to know about the magazine spread that she did in Vanity Fair. So naturally, the people who saw my post then went, Googled the images, and it's like, oh my gosh, this is just. And I felt like at the beginning, I should have had a call to action there. I still kept the same wording. But then I'm like, I edited it and said, everybody needs to pray an Our Father and a Hail Mary for Madonna's conversion. Because is she so lost? Is she so far gone? Is this absolutely horrific? She is taking it to the like highest level possible of making a mockery, right? And being so blasphemous. But again, we don't know what is going to happen or what type of conversion she could have up through the hour of her death. And so I think when we point out this evil and when we address it, which we need to, I need to also be better at, okay, this is disgusting. This is vulgar. Yes, no apologies. But as we're viewing this, as we're addressing this, what do we do about it? Yeah, we have to make awareness, number one. But then we also need to, it's not just like we need to be throwing stones at Madonna. Yeah, this is disgusting and it needs to stop. Zero excuses. But we need to be praying for her because it's so grotesque that it's alarming.
Well, so this is so weird because like a year ago, I think Madonna came to my mind. Like I was driving down the road and I don't know, like it's kind of weird. Like she just kind of like came to my mind.
Mhm.
And I wonder, I was like, this question came to my mind. I was like, was Madonna ever Catholic? And I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if she was raised Catholic or I don't know. But like it came to my mind and then I started thinking about her, like all this stuff started coming into my head because when I was a kid, we used to like secretly listen to Madonna because
Right.
we're supposed to listen to Madonna, right?
Right.
And so my friend had like her tape, the Immaculate Collection, which I started thinking, the Immaculate Collection, like that was a play on the Immaculate Conception, which I had not even thought about until that moment when I was driving down the road, right?
Okay.
So I called my friend and I said, "Hey, I said, do you know if Madonna's ever been Catholic?" And she's like, "I don't know," because so much of her artistry, like I remember the video Papa Don't Preach. There was like rosaries
Yeah.
in a lot of the video, and there's just a lot of like Catholic imagery
Right.
in a lot of her stuff. And so I told her, I was like, like the Immaculate Collection, like don't you think that's like a play on? And she's like, yeah, I think you're right. Like I think. And so I was like, she has to somewhere, there has to be like a Catholic tie somewhere in her life, whether
Right.
she was baptized Catholic, something. She went to Catholic school, like something, right? Because she's so she seems so angry. Like almost like demonically
Irritated.
irritated
Yeah.
at things that are Catholic, and so like she needs an exorcism sort of level, sort of, like irritation.
Yeah.
So then when this came out, I was like, oh shoot, like again with her and this imagery. I mean, I just thought, man, this lady, something like there's something in her that is just stirring. Like there's something like there's like an evil in her that is like stirring. Um,
Yeah.
and it's scary. Like it's kind of scary to watch that. It's scary to watch like demons in front of you. You know?
Yeah. I mean, because it seems to be escalating,
Mm-hmm.
especially in the last few years. You know, when we say just evil doesn't hide anymore,
Mm-mm.
it's like it's it's just in broad daylight everywhere. Whether you're like looking at someone on TikTok or, you know, the news, and it's being, the sad part is a lot of people aren't afraid of it. It's being celebrated. Like it's this evil is attractive for so many, which
Mm-hmm.
is which to someone, again, very simple self, but just that's just like how? Like it's
Like
I,
I get how sin is fun,
sure. Oh
right?
yeah,
Like of
no
course.
question.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's why people do it, right? Because
Right.
if it wasn't fun, like we wouldn't do it. We'd all just live like holy
Yeah.
lives, right? But she seems, when I was looking at the images today that she just recently put out, I was like, that's not just sinful. Like it's more than that. It's it's gone deeper than that for her, I think. I think there's like a manifestation of something in her, you know?
Oh yeah, it was. Oh yeah, I agree. It was definitely to that level, and I know this is no news to most people. Although there's, I think, a small percentage that still think, you know, when people like you and I say that the elite, you know, so many of the elites are part of the occult, and they, you know, they're
They play
satanic.
with it. They play with it. They like they snuggle up to evil, you
Right,
know? They think they can dabble in evil, but you can't dabble in that.
right,
That's like saying like, "Oh, I socially use heroin."
right,
No, like
right,
you don't, right? Like
right,
you don't heroin's not something you can socially use, right? Like I mean, like in college, like I've, you know, like okay, like I've smoked pot before, right? I knew that if I smoked pot, I wasn't gonna be like, oh, I gotta smoke pot all the time, right? And like get the DTs if I didn't like
right.
smoke a joint every day, right? Like you
Yeah,
can socially smoke marijuana, right? You
right.
can't socially use heroin. Well, it's the same thing. Like if you're participating like in this sort of demonic activity, you can't be like, I'm just gonna like chill with the demons over here for the weekend, and I'm gonna go back to living my Christian life.
Right.
Like you can't do
Yeah,
that because it becomes a part of who you are. Like, ask me how I know. Like, I mean, I was in the abortion industry. Like, I was in evil like every day. Like, you can't play with evil and then be like a good Christian for the rest of the week. Like, you just can't. It doesn't work like that.
right.
And I feel like that's how eventually you just have to like start saying the quiet things out loud. It just becomes a part of who you are. And that's where I think she is. It's just she's just blatant about
Yeah.
who
It's
she is and the I think the demons that are living inside of her. That makes me sound kind of crazy, but I do. I think
but it's so true. There he is.
You want to hear my funny bedtime story with the girls?
Of
we're
course.
talking about demons and Madonna. So
Doug.
I want to bring down the mood.
okay.
Okay, so with the girls, we have 5-year-old twins, right? And so I'm putting them down to bed just now. I guess somebody moved funny in the sheets and it made noise. So the girl's like, "Ooh, Daddy farted," but I didn't. Nobody did. And so next thing you know, they're accusing me of it, and then they go 3, 2, 1, not it, and then the other one goes not it, and they're like, "Oh, Dad, you farted," because I didn't catch the not it, and they kept doing it, and I kept not getting it.
It was you.
Quicker.
According to the not it game, but
It was you.
According to real life, it was.
You gotta be faster, Doug.
It's always him.
I do. Not it game is way off.
Oh
Huh?
my God.
All right.
I love it. Now, are the girls gonna stay in bed or are they gonna come
No,
back
they'll
out?
come get in our bed.
Around 2 a.m.
They lay all over me all night.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even feel them get in.
In Fulton.
I have Kelsey and KJ all over me every night. Like, and again, no one like just sleep. Like, there's feet and there's arms and people are diagonal and it's like, what's happening? Like, I wake up with bruises on my body, and when I see them, I'm always like, how did I? Oh yeah, that just happened during the night. Like from.
I'll wake up and Abby's like this.
I'm like,
Do this,
so
or one arm like that.
I always have like, or I have my arms like this, and there's like 2 babies on this arm and one on this,
You got dead arms.
and I can't move. And I'm like, what? Now I know why my back hurts, because for the past
I just grab Fulton and go to the other bed. If
How-
I could move the girls around.
no, he'll just go to the other bed
Sometimes I'll take Fulton.
and leave me with all the kids in the bed.
Whatever, 3, 2, 1,
Good.
not it. All right.
So.
I'll get back to your demonology stuff.
I'm almost done with this concha.
Look at you. You're eating it so
No, it's fine.
patiently, so slowly. I would have had that thing knocked out by now. So what else? I was.
So- We went to the March for Life. March for Life was last week, and it was great. I was very encouraged because it was just like young people everywhere. So that was great.
It's so nice to see
I know.
ones.
I know. It was great. A lot of I think like it was interesting because I think a lot of the adults didn't go this year, but like every kids group came, like every college still came. So when you looked out, it was just literally like miles of different colored beanies, like just groups of beanies everywhere. It was great. And yeah, it was awesome. And
so good.
I mean, Liberty brought like 50 something buses. They had over 500 kids there. It was amazing.
Wow.
So just lots of college kids, lots of high school kids. It was pretty awesome. So we had a bunch of former abortion workers there, a bunch of quitters there. So that was fun. This was our new March for Life t-shirt. More dead.
I love it. And I got to see Abby a couple weeks ago when she was here in North Carolina. I got to see her and I got to see her interact, and I got to interact with several former abortion workers, and it's so, gosh, I don't even know why I'm getting emotional. And I want everybody to take this to heart, no matter what area of their life they they're feeling the calling. But I look at Abby, and Abby's just so humble and just everything's so nonchalant. And I'm like, Abby, does it ever hit you that because of your decision, you have created this global movement, and more than likely, none of these people would have had the guts and the confidence and the knowledge to walk away, to have another option. And I just think, so often we just feel so, we don't have confidence in ourselves. We're like, I'm one person. What can I do? And then someone looking, okay, Abby has 400,000 followers. So of course she can make an impact. And then it's like, go back to when Abby decided to change her entire life. There wasn't 400,000 people there.
And I had terrible bangs.
And she did not look like this.
I did. I had awful bangs.
We were talking about
terrible bob, bad bangs.
She's still beautiful. She still rocked the bangs. But it's like, I think it's so easy for people to feel like, well, this person's a celebrity and they have this following, and of course they're making an impact and change. And it's like, so many of these people, the impact, the change, those first steps were taken not in the limelight. They were taken in complete faith, with the next step veiled, just literally trying to be obedient to God, and the rest unfolded. And so I just think, gosh, people need to just be more gutsy and have more confidence in themselves that God is, yes, I am calling. Oh wait, is the North Face, are they liberal? Are they some bad company? Probably. Just have more confidence, because I look at it and I'm like, Abby, look what you've done. Like, look what you've done. And all these women who have left, it's like, it's just amazing to listen to them and their stories. And it's so moving. It's just, I don't know. It really is. Like, you guys get to see it online and you get to read about it. But like, to see it in person and to see these real people who somehow came across Abby's story and felt like, this is all I know. I need this paycheck. I came here for a reason, and yet there's a different option. Like, there's always another option. And I just feel like, and all of these people who have left, I'm not discrediting them. Oh my gosh, it takes such courage to leave something that's familiar, right? A toxic relationship, a toxic working environment. Because even if something is unhealthy and painful, or you're living in sin, it's familiar. The familiar is comfortable. And that's why so many of us stay in it, right? Because we know it's coming.
But I think that's why telling our stories, I think that's why it's so important, because I think we help other people. I think we help set other people free by our testimonies too, like, it's really easy to be like, well, but this is like private for me, and I don't want anybody to know like my sin, or I don't want anybody to know like how hard this has been for me, or like, whatever. Like, that's the comfortable position. But I mean, for me, I was like, I don't like, when Unplanned came out, when my movie came out, my publicist, Christina, was like, okay, like, this is about to come out. I know you're like, you've always been really honest about everything, but like, is there anything like that could come out, and I'm like, I don't think so. I've been to Mardi Gras, so I don't know. And she was just kind of laughing, and she's like, I'm like, I don't know, like, there might be some pictures out there.
No, everyone's gonna be like Google searching.
I don't know, like, I don't know what's out there. And she's like, we can handle that. She's like,
Right.
she's like, that's fine. She's like, because nobody's gonna be surprised if like a picture of like drunken Abby from college comes out, because you've been so incredibly transparent, like about everything you've ever done, like nobody, like if something crazy, like if some crazy wild picture of you came out somewhere, like nobody's gonna be like like clutching their pearls, like,
Right.
my dear Abby, like we can't believe it, like you've
Right.
just, like, oh, you just tested my sensibilities. Like nobody's gonna be like that. I mean, like, my gosh, like I've had 2 abortions. I've already talked about the, wild person I was in the past. I worked in an abortion clinic, for God's sakes. I, helped to kill 22,000 babies. Like, give me a break. Like, I have not lived this stellar, clean lifestyle. I've lived a pearl clutching lifestyle, okay, for many years of my life. So, like, give me a break, It was funny. There was this group that doesn't like me. There's anti-abortion groups doesn't like me, and they photoshopped a picture of me flipping off a camera, okay, which is funny because I'm confident that there's a picture of me flipping off a camera somewhere. Like, you probably didn't have to Photoshop it. Like, I feel like that would have been easy to find somewhere. So, but they like Photoshopped it. So I was laughing because when they did that, they were like trying to make it seem like I'm this terrible, person that flips off cameras, and I'm like, guys, I mean, I ran an abortion clinic and helped to kill babies for 8 years. So, I mean, me flipping off a camera is the least of your worries. That's like,
you're going to have to try harder.
We're going to have to do way better than that. Like, it's just, and I can't promise you I haven't flipped somebody off since I've had my conversion. So, I mean, we're all a work in progress. Okay. Yeah. I'm like, guys, you got to do better than that. Right. I mean, like, so it's a crazy thing. Like, but I just find it so much better just to be, for me anyway, like it's just so much better to be like, oh yeah, I was a total piece of garbage, like during this part of my life, like, and I did this and this and this, and this was me, and I did all of these awful things, and let me just like completely bare my soul and be honest, because number one, like, I feel like God has given me this testimony to share. And so I should be obedient to what he's told me to do. Right. And I shouldn't worry about embarrassment or anything like that, because I'm going to do what he's told me to do. But also I feel like if he's given me this story and he's given me a repentant heart and he's done this in my life, then I feel like I have a responsibility to share it, because somebody else could be waiting to hear that story to help free them. Yeah. And so, like, whether it's talking about my own abortions or talking about my wild past or whatever it is, like, I mean, that's, like when Doug was getting sober and, he's like, I don't know, like, should I talk about like my alcoholism? I'm like, yeah, like you should talk about it. Like, you should talk about getting sober. You should talk about, like the piece of crap you've been, like while you were dealing with your alcoholism. Like, you should talk about how that affected our family. You should do that, and because he's done that, like, so many people have reached out to him and they're like, I'm 6 months sober because you shared your story. I'm starting my sobriety story. And he's been able to, like, journey with them, because of that. And I just think that that's part of who we're supposed to be. Like, if God has granted us like this amazing story, like, I think that we're supposed to be faithful and share it.
Absolutely. I agree. And I think that again, the people who have no one's led a perfect life, but the people who have really, and I want to say, I'm not trying to be mean, but they haven't faced as much temptation or they haven't succumbed to it, right? Giving them the credit. Those aren't the people that are necessarily going to be the movers and shakers for others, because the majority of us, that feels unobtainable to try to aim for that perfection as much as humans can be. But when you see somebody who's walked through hell, who's left their sinful life, who's overcome those things, it's like, wow, if they can overcome that, if they can be living and choosing this sin all the time, and now they're over here, like I can do that. And that's what changes people. That's what transforms. And that's why it's like Romans 8:28, like God can use anything bad, take anything bad and use it for good. And he's done that so many times in my life. And, and I had the kids like a couple weeks ago got out. I didn't even remember what was in them. They got out old photo albums and they saw pictures of me that they were mortified. My face was a shade of purple, and they're like, "This is you, and you're telling us to dress nicely, and why does your face look like that, and why is your body not covered?" And it was mortifying. It was, and I just had to explain, mommy was not making the best choices at this
Well,
point.
kids, this was let me tell you about mommy back then.
They're like, "Where's the rest of your shirt? And why do your eyes look so glazed like that?" And I,
There used to be a drink called Boone's Farm.
I was just, but it is, and I just feel like when you are able to, whether it's on a platform, whether it's with your neighbor, whether it's with somebody in your family, when you're able to humble yourself, to share your mishaps and your sins, it's only going to do people good. Like, absolutely, without a doubt.
For sure.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad this is like the most we ever talked about religion and God, and it's 10. I know it's 9:24 for you, so it's 10:24 here, and I hear children wrestling upstairs. They're so good. They just know. They're such good little manipulators. Like they just know.
They're like, Mom's busy, so
Mom can't yell at us right now.
Yeah. I have to. I'm actually going on a trip tomorrow. I'm going to Louisiana, back to my home state. So I'm excited, and I'm going to Natchitoches, Louisiana, which is funny. So when I was a kid, I was a cheerleader, and my first cheerleading competition that I ever went to was in Natchitoches, Louisiana. So
That's so cool.
I know, isn't that fun? So anyway, so they're having like their walk for life or whatever, and I'm the speaker. So anyway, yeah. So, and I do Rent the Runway, and so I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll get a dress for it, and then I got the dress. It's like really cute, but really short, and I was like, dang it. So now I've got to find something else to wear. So I'm kind of bummed.
Yeah, you'll have everyone hopping on that train. Abby Johnson, she's looking so good now. She's showing her legs.
First it was the Mary t-shirt. Now she's showing too much leg.
Her legs are out.
What's next? Her shoulders? She gonna start wearing sleeveless shirts?
Oh my gosh. I love it.
I had somebody tell me on my picture yesterday I was wearing too much makeup. I literally was I have no makeup on my face right now. I just have like lipstick on.
That's just
I'm like, that's too much makeup? Lipstick? What?
That's my face. Thank you.
I'm like,
Thank
it's just my face. Just my face.
And see, I love when they try to attack you when they're actually complimenting you. And
What do you want me to do? I have no makeup on. What do you want me to do?
you want me to put a filter on to make me like less,
To make me look heinous?
to make me look less bold. Oh my gosh, yeah, the very t-shirt thread. That's a
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's always something. It's like, oh gosh, it's always something. When I was like really overweight, people were like, you're so fat, mama. Okay, well then like I lost weight, and then oh, well then it was like my eyebrow. Your eyebrows are too high. Well, I there's nothing I can do about my eyebrows. My eyebrows are just like naturally high. Okay, well, so I went to the salon where I get my eyelashes done, and I'm like, hey, can y'all do anything to like lower my eyebrows? Like, what can I do?
Public is not.
I'm like, nobody likes my arched eyebrows, and they're like, what? Your eyebrows are great. I'm like, my fans don't like them, and I'm just getting like ravaged over my eyebrows. So they're like, yeah, okay. They're like, well, we can put like a little Botox and lower them, which I always thought Botox like raised things. So then I was like really nervous. I was going to be like this, like Pelosi over here.
Right.
I was like, really? She's like, no, it's all about where we place it. I was like nervous, guys, but she put a little smidge of Botox just for the fans to lower them a little bit. So now but I can still, move her. It's just in a specific place, right? To lower the eyebrows. So I think they're
They are.
they're lowered, right?
You said something. They are a smidge lower.
They're lower. Okay. Now that's gonna run out in like 6 months. So
you're gonna come back.
You see them like start creeping back up. You gotta let me know, because then I gotta go get some more like me. Okay. So then then people were like, oh, your eyelashes are humongous. Blah. Okay, well, they're the same as they've always been. I have not like changed.
Right.
I've been getting the exact same way for the past like 12 years. I've never had them off, like whatever. Okay, so then I go to my eyelash girl, but I was like, my face is skinnier, so maybe it makes like these look bigger,
Right.
So I go to my eyelash girl and I'm like, everybody's complaining about my eyelashes. And she's like, oh my God, first your eyebrows, now they're complaining about your eyelashes. I'm like, girl, it's always something. So
my shoes.
So she's like, okay, well, we can cut them back a little bit. So, okay. So now they're a little shorter. I haven't gotten comments on the eyelashes. So I feel like I've made people happy now with my brows and my eye. I feel like people are content with this part of my face. But then like today on my Instagram, somebody asked me if I had facial work done. Literally asked me if I had plastic surgery on my face.
No, that's
no.
Face.
I would like to. I would like to get a nose job, but
I tell her.
Hear him? And my whole family's like, no.
Her nose is perfect.
They won't let me. I need Doug to go on like a mission trip to Africa for a couple weeks, so I can like go secretly have a nose job.
No.
My nose is growing. They say
everything else.
They say your ears and your nose continually grow your whole life. By the time I'm like 80, my nose is going to look like Snuffleupagus. It's going to be like a trunk. It's going to be like,
oh my goodness.
This. Baby KJ. And my feet keep growing. Fantastic. So
well, you're shrinking everywhere else.
So yeah. And my nose keeps getting bigger. Great. So anyway, I don't know. So they won't let me get my nose done. So
No,
Right.
we're not gonna let you. I like your little button nose.
It's not a button nose.
Do
Button nose. It's huge.
you like Abby's nose? No.
No. See, KJ's honest. KJ's honest. And now that I've lost the weight, I fixed the eyebrows, I've toned down the lashes, and now I don't wear I don't wear makeup. They're always like, wear less makeup. I'm like, I don't know how to wear less makeup unless I don't put anything on my lips. I don't know. I have no makeup on my face.
It's just because your features are so pronounced.
But my nose is huge. Okay, so then they're like, so then they say to me, now the new thing is, you look transgender. You look like I'm like, I have never in my life looked at a picture of myself and go, yeah, I kind of look like a dude. I mean, like, I never in my life have I thought I kind of look trans. I've always thought everything about me looks like pretty feminine.
Yes. I mean,
So,
see, that's
always something. It's always something.
Abby, it's the price you pay for being a celeb.
I just make people happy, but I don't know. I don't know what to do about the trans thing. I don't think I look like a tranny. So
Doug will confirm you're a woman. You're
I like my nail color too. I don't know what it is, but
hey, look, we have like the same color.
I know. I noticed that.
Look, I love it.
In sync as always. So anyway, I know. I try not to worry about it, y'all, but I'm telling you, I know people are like, don't worry about people saying, oh, you just need to please the Lord. All right, look, shut it. If you were getting all of the comments that I got, like, you look, I mean, like, I can't post a video without just getting like completely trash. Okay, so like, I mean, if that were you, like, you would hear it too. So I mean, oh my gosh, it's just crazy. So
It's hard.
It's hard. So, I mean, and I'm like, I'm pretty confident, but you just,
There's days they get you, like it rubs you the wrong way.
It's just nonstop. So you can't
Look at this face.
look at my face. Look at my cute face. Look at this face. You can't just turn it off. You can't just, it's just constantly, it's in your face all the time. And
then again, when you get, it's easier, like if there's 10 comments, just bringing it, if there's 100 comments and 90 of them are good, you still focus on the 10.
But then 10 say you look like a tranny.
Right.
If you came out as trans, that might help a little bit.
It would probably help me, actually.
I'll work with the team. We'll get your.
Okay, yeah, we need to put that out to like CNN or something.
We'll get it all going.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm not sure how to explain all these kids. I don't know.
I know, right?
Dad's trans too.
They're both and I'm trans, and everyone else is
Everybody in
trans.
our family, we're very inclusive.
Very, very.
Asexual and bi.
Okay, stop. All right.
Pretty funny. Well, you have an amazing time in Louisiana.
I will. It's gonna be fun. I hope it's not.
Hey, KJ, can you say goodnight to Abby?
KJ,
Can you say
good
goodnight?
night.
Can you say goodnight?
No.
No. Can you blow kisses?
No.
He's reading his Elf on the Shelf book.
Oh, is it the elf?
Oh goodness. See,
All right. There he is. I see him.
Wow. There he is.
All right, guys.
Right, guys. Fun.
We love you. We think you're all awesome.
And we will be back next week with some more.
I will be back next week with my Botoxed eyebrows.
With her lower eyebrows and her
My
shorter
lower eyebrows. Yeah.
eyelashes. All right, guys. Everybody have a great night. Have a great weekend.